Tony Flexon for Seconds Out here with Paul Gill, Jordan Gill's father and trainer when he was still an amateur, I guess. Just tell us a bit about your own career in boxing, first of all, because I know that was a big inspiration to Jordan growing up.
I started in 1986, so I was about 14, coming 15. I boxed for Chatteris Amateur Boxing Club, carried on through that up until about, I would say, 1997. Then I went to go and turn professional with Brendan Ingle. Went there, and obviously I didn't have no money. I was struggling. I had 2 children, mortgage, so I ended up going back to Chatteris. I couldn't afford it, so I ended up running the boxing club there.
And because you never got the opportunity to turn pro for the reasons you've outlined, is it quite gratifying for you that Jordan's now got the chance not only to have become a pro, but to compete at quite a high level?
It's nice to be involved and to see everything that goes on, because it's always been my dream, but I never really wanted him to be a boxer, to be fair. Just, he's quite a clever kid, and I always, any time he came in, he wanted to go boxing, I'd just make sure he do his schoolwork, so and both my children are the same, Naomi, she's always done her schoolwork and that, so for me, education's key.
So how did he get into the boxing then? If it wasn't something that you kind of pushed him towards or encouraged necessarily, what made him kind of overcome all that and go anyway?
Well, what actually happened was my wife said to me he's hyperactive, and the play teacher then at play group said, look, you've got to do something with him because he's just too hyperactive. So my wife used to take him swimming, and then from that point she said, look, take him to the boxing club, and I'm like, really? He's 4 years old? And she goes, no, look, take him to the box. So I said, okay, I'll take him to the boxing club. So we took him to the boxing club, and I told him not to mess about. So he like a fish to water. That's what he was like. He just learned a lot had a lot of good fighters at that point, and we were making generally ABA semi-finals, going to finals. I never really had a national champion at that point because we're a deprived area of South Fenland, so it was hard to get funding and to get the equipment that we needed. So he came around, he just learned a lot from the young kids that were coming through, yeah.
So I know Chatteris relatively well. I used to live in Huntingdon for about 8 or 9 years. Jordan told me a bit about his kind of own experience growing up there. What was it like for you? Because obviously you're Indian heritage.
You noticed that?
Yeah, it didn't escape me. And Chatteris is a predominantly white community, and even more so, I guess, when you were growing up there. So just tell us a bit about the experience of that and whether there are any difficulties, I guess.
I think when you're talking about the 1980s, it's a different era than it is now. So, when you're talking about, black, white, and obviously there's, the National Front, and then there's, there's black groups and whatever, and Asian groups and communities stay together. It was a different era. So I just think really it was difficult because you were only, and jokes, like you say, when you go to school you're going to get a bit of grief here and there, but nothing too bad really, and Jordan, he came along and he was fine. So I don't really want to sort of touch on that subject too much because I don't think it's, we're all the same, we're all from Britain and we're all proud, aren't we?
Completely agree with you. I just wonder, because it is such a, even now Chatteris is still a very white dominated community, so I just wondered if there was ever any issues with that involved. But obviously Jordan's succeeded incredibly well, so it seems like it all worked out for the best regardless.
Yeah, well, you say it's a white predominantly area, but we've got plenty of kebab shops, so there's Turkish people there, we've got Indians, we've got Chinese people there, so it's becoming a multicultural place. So I think, in general, like I said, don't really want to touch on that subject too much because I'm not educated enough on it, but I just see people how they are and I take them as what they are, and that's how it should be.
How happy are you with Dave Coldwell being your son's trainer? How well do you guys kind of get on? Do you share a similar boxing philosophy?
Yes, we do. I mean, it's great. I mean, Dave Coldwell, I don't, if you know me, I don't praise people up too much. I only just see what I see and I say what I see. And for me, people don't understand how good he really is. Honestly, you see him talking, people watch like YouTube clips, but he really is specific in what he does. And you know, when I was boxing, I wish I had that. I wish I had a Dave Coldwell teaching me. I wish someone taught me about life in general. I had to learn from so many different people, you know, and it was tough, you know, to gather information, because, you know, it's hard to gather information with people that aren't educated. So that's why I travel the country up and down, seeing, you know, where's the best place to go, what to do. Obviously I ended up at the Ingalls, which Brendan, fantastic guy, but seeing Dave, I mean, he's just so pacific in what he says and how he coaches, and I'm looking at boxing in a different way now. And I think, you know, he's brilliant, and he's good for Jordan. We want the best out of Jordan, and you know, I talk to Dave on a regular basis. I go down to the gym, you know, and he educates me basically. And you know, as much as I've been in the game for 30 years, I feel like I'm learning. It's like a new thing for me, and I love it, and I enjoy it, and I'm glad I'm being involved.
Before we let you go, we all know what Jordan's like in the ring, although we probably haven't seen his full potential just yet. Tell us what Jordan's like as a person, as a son. What type of character is he?
What sort of character? He's a prankster. That's what he is. He's always playing pranks. He's funny. He's serious. He's very intelligent. If you want to have a good conversation with him, you know, you can have it. But generally, he's just a happy kid. You know, like my daughter Naomi, she's the same. You know, my wife. We're all very relaxed. We all bond very well. We've got a very tight family. You know, I say Chris Lloyd came over and stayed with us for a weekend, and he said he can't believe how tight we are as a family. You know, and it's fantastic. You know, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Yeah.
Chris Lloyd have any bad habits?
Nothing I can say on camera.
Yeah, sounds about right.
He's a good man.
All right, we really appreciate your time. We wish Jordan obviously the best of luck on Friday, and hopefully see you again on the next step.
Lovely. Thank you, Danny.
Cheers, Paul. That was brilliant. Thank you.